Hi there and welcome along to another workout for you to row along to. It's day 25 of the 30 days of 30-minute workouts, and today we're doing a mid-tier and going slightly back in history to a workout which was 4.5 minutes at 22 strokes a minute and 2k plus 15 to 16 pace, followed by 30 seconds at a sprint pace. Now I'm looking for you to kind of hit around about 30 strokes a minute and 2k pace if possible, but let's just see how we get on through this row. Now as being that adds up to 5 minutes, you do this 6 times and then the row is over. And trust me, because of splitting it up into those 5-minute intervals, this is going to absolutely fly by for you, all right? So it's a good low bottom tier, kind of low rate, low intensity fitness building section, followed by that little bit where you get to spread your wings and go fast. It's a really fun, enjoyable row, which is why I want to repeat it, all right? So let's get into our 4-minute warm-up. And as always, we head straight to the front of the machine and set up our drag factor. If you don't know about drag factor, please do check out the video I have on this channel. I set mine to run about 120, 125, but I know people differ, so make sure and set it to where you want it to be. If you're on a non-concept 2, then set the resistance or the weight or whatever it is on your machine so you get a good feel from the stroke, but you don't have to heave your back against it, all right? Next up, if you can, set your monitor to eye height so you're not having to look up and you don't have to look down. Just bit my lip, ow. And finally, if you can set your foot stretcher heights, I always get that wrong, please set it to a point where you can get to the front of the machine with your shins pointing vertically. And if they're set too low, you'll go scooting straight past that. If you're set too high, you might get a little bit bound up and not quite able to get there, all right? Now we're going to do this warm up at 18 strokes a minute, and let's hope we get warm because I'm still cold. I'm going to do it at 18 strokes a minute, and the power, you're just going to put in enough of a push from your feet to think about that power connecting through your body into your hands. Okay, I will explain as we start. In 3, 2, 1, let's go. So, you put the power into the machine by pushing your feet into the foot plates. Okay, so this is a pushing sport. You push with your legs. Your arms and your hands are there mostly as a conduit to get that power into the machine. And so in order for that to happen, that push from your feet and the connection of your hands onto the handle and the handle to the machine need to happen at the same time. Because if you push before your hands, your backside will scoot away from underneath you. And if you pull too early with your hands, you just can't quite get that snap of the power in. And you're also wasting potential arm power that you want to put in at the back of the stroke. So push with your feet, connect with your hands at the same time. And then you can start to think about increasing your pace and get closer to 2k plus 20 for this next 45 seconds. And if you don't know what 2k pace is, then it's based on rowing a 2-kilometer time trial and dividing the resulting time by 4. And that gives you the average time to cover 500 meters in your best 2k time trial. And that's your 2k training pace. So when I say 2k plus 20, you take that average 500 meter time and just add 20 seconds to it. All right, one more stroke. Put one foot on the floor, continue rowing. Okay, so I've only got one leg strapped in, so don't be surprised if you drop off pace a little bit. But the point here is to continue as good a technique as you can. Don't overlean into the front of the machine. It's quite easy to, because you've got more flexibility with only one leg in. Swap feet. Just keep an eye on the pace difference if you're still rowing at the same stroke rate between both legs. Like 2 or 3 seconds different is fine. But if you're like a good 10, 15 seconds different, then there's something going on. Okay, one more. Put both legs in, legs nice and straight, and row with your back and arms. So you swing over your hips with your back, and then you pull in your arms. And then back out with your arms, swing back over your hips again. And this really is like a pivoting pendulum motion. Nice hinging backwards and forwards. You're not bending and curling your back to do this. Right, let's roll to the front of the machine with straight arms and a forward lean, and just press out with your legs. Not too powerfully, because I want you to concentrate on that forward lean and straight arms. If you push too hard, you'll end up having to lean backwards to take out the power. And then just work on that timing again between your foot connection and your hands. Right, last one. Now something is bumping around on my rail today. What's that? Oh, sorry, a quick edit in there while I was trying to work out. There's something strange bumping around on my rail. Don't quite know what it is. Have to have a look after the row because I'm not going to bore you with it now. So once again, what we're doing today is we're going to do 4.5 minutes at 22 strokes a minute and 2K plus 15 to 16 pace, followed by 30 seconds at more of a sprint pace, okay, at that kind of 30 strokes a minute, 2K pace. Okay, so we'll go up to that 30, then back down to 22. We basically repeat this thing 6 times in total because it's 5-minute splits. Okay, so it's going to be a good old workout. You're going to get the intensity up there. It's going to feel like a mid workout. It's certainly not going to be a bottom one. Those 4.5 minutes are bottom intensity, but because of the 30-second sprints, this is what's going to elevate it up into the mid intensity. Okay, now if you want to go faster than 2K pace for the sprint sections, fill your boots, on you go. That's perfectly fine by me, but I'm going to keep it at that mid-intensity for various reasons. One of them being that it's that part of the schedule for me for this 30 days. So yeah, anyway, right. Are we okay? Yeah, I think we seem okay. So we're going to start off 22 strokes a minute, 2K plus 15 to 16 seconds. And then, yeah, and I'll talk you through what's going on. Okay, might as well get into it before I get any colder. Here we go then. In 3, 2, 1, and we're off. The 22 is that slightly awkward stroke rate for me. It's probably my least comfortable. Yeah, I'm nowhere near it right now. Let's speed up a tiny bit. That's better. Don't know why, it always takes me a few strokes to realise just how fast 22 actually is. I think I was down at 18 for the first 3 strokes there. Sorry. But there we go. 22 strokes a minute, and I want to be around about 2 minutes per 500 meter pace to be 2K plus 15. And again, don't worry too much if you surf between plus or minus 1 stroke a minute or 1 second. If you were, say, 3 or 4 strokes a minute out or seconds out, then I'd be a bit more concerned. But especially for the first couple of minutes of a session, if you don't lock right into rate and pace, it's not too big of a issue. Now, when we do the 30-second speed ups, I want you to try as much as possible to get back in to your stroke rate and pace as quickly as possible. The point isn't to spend the first minute of the 22 strokes a minute recovering from the sprint by slowing down. The point is to let yourself gradually settle down over the course of that 4.5 minutes before then having to go into it again. Oh, my watch keeps on shouting at me. So that's what keeps the intensity up there for this row. If you just slow right down so that you're fully recovered by like 45 seconds in after the sprint, it's not quite the training effect that this is meant to give. It might take you 4 or 5 strokes to properly get into rate and pace, especially the first time that we go through this sprint, but just do the best you can to lock back into it as quick as possible. Now remember, when it comes to the sprint, just think about pushing harder with your legs to increase the power going in. Your arms will take care of themselves if you push harder with your legs. But I'll talk more about that after this sprint. Okay, so we're almost there in 3, 2, 1, let's go sprinting. So push with the legs, get the stroke rate up, get the power up, and try to get close to 2k pace. 3, 2, 1. Back to 22s. So you will feel just that little bit more, what's the word? Pushed to keep your pace and rate, but let it just settle itself down, and hopefully you'll start to feel your body just ease back after that 30-second sprint. This is why consistency of technique is so good, because all you have to do is think about that push from the legs in order to get your rate and pace up. And especially on a session like today, that really does mean trying to concentrate on that powerful body position at the start of the stroke, with the forward lean and arms straight. And then pushing with your legs while holding those straight arms and forward lean should mean that the power surges, flows into the machine. And then when you just push in more power from the legs, you don't have to do anything different in order to increase pace. It's all just governed from that leg drive, that hang off the handle that you get when you push with your legs in the right position. Just feels like a stronger hang when you push harder. All right, so we've got another minute at this stroke rate and pace before we bump up again. And hopefully you got the intensity right, so you could just feel it rise into that mid intensity coming out of the 30 seconds last time. But you should have settled down, ready for the next one, which is just about to happen. In 3, 2, 1, let's go sprinting. More of a push from your legs. You should hear the tone of your machine increase as you let that power flow from your legs to your arms to the machine. 3, 2, 1. Back to 22s. Whew. This is a really good session for many reasons. Physically, obviously, because you get the double whammy of the low rate fitness boosting row, and then the powerful sprints. But mentally, it's just a lot of fun. If you are looking for a row that gives you a mix of intensities, doesn't leave you absolutely exhausted, but still takes a lot of focus, this is a perfect one to come back to. Especially if you're looking for something to clear your mind. This one is great. Came into today's session with like a whirlwind of a to-do list still running through my head. Between work, even making this video, but also trying to shuffle around my studio a little bit and trying to build a sound soundproof room for my drum kit in the corner. I think it's probably debris from that is sitting somewhere on the rail of this machine, which is why I keep bumping. But it is just funny how your brain can latch onto something, whether it's a moment of conflict in your day or something you are trying to problem solve, or just something that you're really excited about. That stuff can really bounce around your head through the day and through the night. But then you sit down to a row like this, where you have to concentrate to hold your pace. There's not much room for anything else. Well, not for me anyway. Then I'm a very simple soul, so all right, 20 seconds to go until the next one. Ooh. Right, how many? 2, 1, here we go, let's go sprinting. Now keep your posture nice and powerful at the front. Try not to collapse your back forwards past that 1 o'clock in a hunt for more length. Last one. Back to 22s. We're halfway there. Bon Jovi. Whew. I wonder if one day John Bon Jovi's in his home private gym. He's like, I'm going to go for a row today. But let's see if anyone's made a YouTube video for me to row along with. So he types in RowAlong. And suddenly he's got me singing at him. You'd be like, no, I can't escape. I don't have a Jersey accent. Joyzy, I can't escape this living on a prayer. Don't think that's Jersey either. Not making fun of them at all. I used to be a huge Bon Jovi fan in my teens. Bon Jovi, Van Halen, and Mr. Big were like my, what do you call it, trifecta? No. Triptych of music. So I've got a lot of fond memories of Bon Jovi and that song, so I bring it up out of fondness. I'm not taking the mickey out of him. Oh, so in the last sprint I was talking about posture and the importance of keeping not only your posture nice and powerful, but also not over leaning at the front when sprinting, in the hopes of getting more length out of the chain. It's really easy to think that if you go right to the front, that you'll go faster. But the truth is, there's just a load of power leaks ahead if you do that. If you slide too far forwards, shins past vertical, then not only do you lose time with the extra compression, but that extra compression has a tendency to kind of spring your backside out from underneath you. Same with if you lean, dip with your back. Get power leaks everywhere. Too many to mention as we're about to hit the next sprint in 3, 2, 1. Let's go sprinting. Remember, arms nice and straight as you push legs into the machine. Think about pushing the machine away from you rather than thinking about pulling on the handle. Pulling happens at the back. 2, 1. I was about a second off there, pace-wise. But yeah, drive out the front with straight arms. Don't grab early and fight the power. Fight the power. Because not only are you wasting power that should be flowing from your legs into the machine by fighting against it with your biceps, not only are you wasting potential arm power that you want to put in at the back of the stroke. So straight pull, straight pull, straight pull. But also, I see so many rowers who grab early at the front of the machine with golfer's elbow or tennis elbow, and then if they are also the type that finish really high with the handle, that's when it really comes into bite for that tennis and or golfer's elbow. Now, I'm not saying that my finish is perfect. I do have a tendency, when I lose concentration, to finish with my elbows too low. and my hands slightly up, kind of like this. Especially at power, I'll tend to do that. But when I'm concentrating, I'll have that tiny flare out of my elbows, which keeps my wrists a bit more flat. And so if you do develop tennis elbow or golfer's elbow when rowing, once you've had a rest period, iced it and things, when you do come back to rowing, I recommend first off dropping the drag factor so that you're less likely to want to grab early and fight the handle, fight the weight of the machine. And then you can concentrate on straight arms. Because if you get it wrong with a low drag factor, it feels like you're rowing through air. And then when it comes to the finish, really think about the sternum height finish of the handle and wrists nice and flat. Maybe with a slight outwards flare of your elbows to make that happen. Okay, 3, 2, 1. Let's go sprinting. Whew. I think I was half a second out there. Sorry. Now, just by thinking about my posture and back and handle height, I've clawed back the pace finish. Back to 22s. Clawed back the pace that I'd lost when I was just a bit more mindless about the sprints of my arm or arms the last time round. Okay, so we've got 4 minutes of this 22 section left, and then a final 30-second sprint, and then we're done. So it's up to you how you want to finish. Do you want to hold the same pace that you've done all of these at, in the hopes that if you set your monitor to 5-minute intervals and you think that you are holding the right pace for the 22s and the sprints all the way through, you can compare all 6 intervals. Or do you just let this one fly? Take your last 30 seconds up to as fast as you can. Now you can do that while still rate capping to 30 strokes a minute, or you can do what they call a fly and die, where you increase stroke rate and power to the absolute maximum you can achieve right from the start of that 30 seconds, and then hope that you hold it to the end rather than your pace and stroke rate dying on you. Remember, getting the stroke rate up comes on both ends of the stroke. You push harder and therefore a faster leg drive, but you also get those hands away in the same rhythm they come in at. So a faster drive phase will mean a faster finish of your arms due to that more powerful hang off the handle. So you mirror the pace the handle comes in at and get it away and over your knees before your knees bend. And that way your forward tilt over your hips should be correct too. Right, here we go then. In 3, 2, 1. Final sprint. Let's go. I'm going to hold 30 if I can, but I'm putting in as much of a leg drive as I can. 4, 3, 2, 1. And just at the end, a tiny bit of sweat went in my eye. I feel like a pirate. And as being, it looks like I got dressed in the dark today anyway. Not too sure whether the purple and red goes, to be honest. At least it's not red and red. So take a moment to compose yourself, breathe, have a quick drink if you wish, and then we'll get ready for a 2-minute cool down. Whew. It is a great row, that one, must be said. Time flies. It's a great amount of effort, and it's just good to get that feeling of what it's like to row at your 2k pace, that power. And again, for me, I was doing all of them, or most of them, at 30 strokes a minute rather than 32, and I'm really pleased that for all but one of them I was about 2k pace or faster. So here we go then with a 2-minute cool down. You ready for this? We're going to do it 18 strokes a minute, and then think 2k plus 20 first, and then let's glide into neutral. So here we go then, in 3, 2, 1, let's go. So starting with that 2k plus 20 pace just means that you're putting enough effort and force through your muscles to get them pumping again and flush out the deoxygenated blood and lactate. I'm pretty sure it's not lactate. I'll keep on going through this. Somebody please correct me. Lactate's what happens when you're a woman breastfeeding, isn't it? Lactic acid, I know, is a thing, but I'm pretty sure sports science actually debunked that side of things. So someone out there, keep me right. Right, I'm gently easing down to 2k plus 30 pace. Just slowly getting down there. And make sure to keep that fluid stroke and rhythm going through this cool down. Try not to over lean at the front, which I know I was doing because my shoulder hurts. It's the first time in a long time that this shoulder collarbone pain has come back. It's proof that I was obviously hyperextending and leaning in too far, taking the force of the stroke through tense shoulders instead of through my back. Right, that's my cool down done. You do not have to stop cooling down, of course. You can carry on, or you can climb off and do some stretching. And I recommend hamstrings, quads, hip flexors, shoulders, especially if you're like me, biceps if you grab early, and then forearms too. And remember, you can do the pray if your forearms, pray, and then push your hands together as you bring them down. And you'll feel it from your wrists all the way underneath. And that's where the tennis elbow, is that tennis or is that golfer's? Tennis elbow is the top, golfer's elbow is the underneath. So if you do that, it will help you if you suffer from golfer's elbow, I think. Yeah, whatever. Again, someone keep me right there. Listen, I'm not a science guy, I'm not a doctor, I'm not whatever. I row sessions, I have a very surfacey knowledge of the actual words. but basically, I know that when you put in exercise, your muscles burn, or start to feel as though they start to burn. And that's because it's burning up glycogen, and it's then using more, you don't have enough oxygen to fuel your muscles, so because of that glycogen burn, it's then leaving acids, or deposits, whatever you want to call them, in your muscles, which you then want to flush out, okay? It's just the names of them that I'm a little bit, because people talk about lactate, but I'm pretty sure lactating is when breast milk escapes from a woman's, yeah. I do hope that saying the B word just then doesn't suddenly put this into an explicit, that'd be awful, wouldn't it? Just because I said, but it's a real word. Anyway, so, yeah, I've completely lost my train of thought. So that was day 25. And for those paying attention and doing this in real time, it's the 25th of November, so it's a Thursday, which means it's Thanksgiving in USA, in the United States of America. So happy Thanksgiving to all you folks in the USA. I hope you have a great turkey, good feast, all that kind of stuff, and make sure and be thankful to each other for what you all bring into each other's lives. Because really, if you can show gratitude to others and receiving gratitude for others, there's nothing better. See, when you say thank you to someone for something they've done good for you, it just, yeah, it's amazing. But then to be on the receiving end of that as well, and it's a genuine one, is just incredible. I mean, this isn't what, I'm not fishing, but when I get people saying thank you so much for what I'm doing here and how it's helping me with your rowing, it really just does justify. Even if it was just one person got in touch and said, oh man, I'm so glad I found you, I'm able to spend time on the rowing machine and all that kind of stuff, then I'm like, wow, this is amazing. I can't believe that me in my little studio all the way over here in Glasgow is helping somebody in Australia or in Kentucky or British Columbia or who knows where else. And it's absolutely mind-blowing and incredible to actually get that thanks, because you just think, you know what, it may not be a huge difference. I'm not curing a disease. I'm not ridding the world of plastic. I'm not trying to stop climate change. But if I'm able to help people get a little bit fitter, faster, stronger, then maybe one of them is going to be around a little bit longer to help someone else, who does then invent a way to clear the world of plastic or whatever. So it's like it's the Sam Beckett. It's the quantum leap way of gratitude, if you get what I mean, where you help that one life, but it's not about that one life. It's not about the one person who you've helped. It's about that person who's then in a much better place and happier and whatever to then help the person next to them and then someone else. And then those two people, they help. It's basically, I'm a virus. That's what it is. I think of myself as a virus where I am spreading my help to people, and then they are hopefully spreading the good nature or whatever. This is why I give it away for free, is to try, and this altruism side of things is to try also just the generosity side of it, that I want other people to do things, that it doesn't have to be about everyone trying to squeeze every penny out of it and, hey, I'm going to turn this into a business and whatever. Is that actually if you do good things for people, then those people will do good things for other people. Sometimes you get it back, and there's, oh man, it's amazing when someone, like the patron thing I do, where actually someone says, you know what, actually, I know you're not asking for money, but I'm just going to give you $1 a month to say thank you. And you think, oh crikey, someone's showing gratitude in that way, but it's not why I do it. I do this to try and, yeah. So the reason I'm ranting is because it's Thanksgiving. So I'm saying thank you to all of you for actually letting me do this, for being on the other end of the video and allowing me into your lives and allowing me to try and help you. And I can only hope that you are at one way in your life, you're kind of, that's rubbed off a little bit and you're helping others. Or maybe, like I say, that it's just because you're a little bit fitter and a little bit stronger, then you can, when a woman in a supermarket or a short man in a supermarket, or whatever, I don't want to be sexist, asks you to get something off the top shelf because you have a little bit more flexibility and you're a little bit stronger, you're like, yeah, sure, and stretch up and get it. Whereas before, maybe you wouldn't be able to do that. Or you can go and run with the kids and, listen, you know what I'm saying. You know what I'm trying to say. I'm digging myself into a hole here of trying to explain something that I kind of get the feeling that you know what I'm trying to say. So thanks to all of you for being the other half of RowAlong. I do the row, you do the along, and together we are RowAlong. I think I'm going to cry. It's the most beautiful thing I've ever said. I should have a t-shirt with row, and you should have a t-shirt with along. Or we should have one of those little lockets, you know, the ones that's like the broken heart, where I could have one that says row and you could have one that has, and then one day we could meet together and we could come together as RowAlong. This is really obviously wearing very, very thin on my energy levels. The fact that I've just gone into this bonkers thing. If you're still here, well done. Oh God, I sweat my eye. So, it's not even a Friday. Normally I'm like this on a Friday when I realise I'm about to get spaghetti. It's only a Thursday. And because I'm in Scotland, it's not like it's a turkey day. I'm having a baked potato with tuna tonight. That's nowhere near the same as what you folks are going to get to eat. So anyway, right, shall I go? I think I probably should, because I've got work to do, to be honest. Thank you so much for everything, for rowing along, for commenting, for putting up with me, for everything, for being the other half of this, and for continuing through these 30 days, if that's what you're doing, or for doing anything, but be it the podcast, the video, or the Facebook, or whatever. It's amazing that we are able to be part of each other's lives in some way. So thank you very much for that. And I will see you in either day 26 or in another video. Day 26 is going to be another bottom tier row. And I'll just go back. I might go back and pick one from earlier this month, or I might come up with an entirely new one. Who knows? But I will see you in that one or another one. So please look after yourselves. Have a great day. Stay safe. Be well. Bye-bye.